You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live. Athletes. Featuring in-depth interviews with athletes and members of the sports industry. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Athletes.
You're talking about running your mouth like you know me.
What's up?
Hey!
I like that intro.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another week of BHL's Sports Weekly. I'm your host, Thaddeus Massey, and joining me today is...
I'm Charlotte Broadbent. What's up, everyone?
What's up, Charlotte? Glad you're here.
So glad I'm here. We've got some nice...
I
I know, I'm sorry. We had some good sporting stuff to talk about this week.
When you're doing it big, you got things going on. Charlotte has got her beautiful smile and eyes, sparkling eyes. She gets offers from everywhere. I'm just glad to have her back here with me.
I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
Very glad.
So the top three stories for this week are, we're going to talk about Jabari Parker a little bit. Mm-hmm. This kid from Duke who played 1 year at Duke and then he rolled out. He's declaring for the NBA. Then the Masters and this whole ratings debacle with that. What are the reasons behind it? And there are some theories about why. I think people have kind of surmised it to a couple of things that have to do with Tiger and Phil Mickelson. And then there's the NHL playoffs that started off yesterday with a huge rivalry between the San Jose Sharks and the Los Angeles Kings that didn't go well for the Kings. And we're going to talk about that also. So let's start off with Jabari Parker. This kid, see him flying through the air there.
6'8" inches. This kid.
Yeah, he's
big kid.
Yeah, he's a big kid. What's funny is when you see him in interviews, the kid still looks like he's 16 years old. He looks so young. He has such a baby face.
He really does. The 6'8", it's height, but it's not the way he looks. He looks like he hasn't hit puberty, really.
Right. He's like has this really young adolescent look, and just to look at him and be like, this kid is going to the NBA. There's a lot of opinions about him declaring so early. That's pretty much what Carmelo Anthony did. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about that later. But Carmelo won a championship.
When you're on a team like Duke, I mean, they are known to be the best recruiters. They have the best recruiting classes always. It's such a prestigious team.
Right.
When you go there and you're a great player, I feel like somewhat in people's heads they're like, oh, he's gonna go into the NBA. He's gonna that's just what they do at Duke.
Well, actually, one of his teammates is just declared as well.
Yeah, it's sophomore Rodney Hood.
Yeah, Rodney Hood is going as well.
And he's a sophomore, so it's like that's what.
Right.
I think Duke, a year of Duke prepares them enough. I mean, and we've spoken about this before.
Yeah, we have.
You don't necessarily need to go to college to get the experience and everything from high school. You can just kind of transition right into NBA. But they obviously want to go into do some college basketball, and that's obviously what he wanted to do. He's done a year, and now he's like, all right, time to go into the major leagues.
Get this the big time money.
Right.
We have a guest that's joining us today. Nabate Isles, sports expert from Sirius Sports Radio and ESPN Radio, is joining us today. Nabate, are you there?
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, good morning.
Good. You're calling from the East Coast, right?
Yeah, so it's afternoon out.
Afternoon on the East Coast.
It's afternoon out there.
Out on the West Coast.
Right.
But I just want to make a correction. I'm no longer with ESPN New York.
Okay.
No longer with them. Just a Sirius XM.
Okay, Sirius XM. Excellent. But you are an expert in sports.
Definitely.
Talk radio. Nonetheless, we are just discussing the whole Jabari Parker declaration. To commit to go to the NBA, and how do you feel he's going to go in the draft?
Oh, I think he's the most ready NBA prospect of the one-and-done players. He's the most ready. To me, he should be the number one pick overall. But the only thing with him is that I don't know if his upside will exceed Andrew Wiggins' upside or Joe Embiid's upside, or even to a lesser extent Aaron Gordon's upside. You know, but at this time, I think in such a big draft, you have to go for a sure thing, especially with teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, Philadelphia 76ers, Utah Jazz that have been struggling for a long period of time. I think it will be beneficial for Jabari Parker to be their pick if they have an opportunity to get him. Like the LA Lakers, they can be able to take a risk on someone other than Jabari Parker, like an Andrew Wiggins or even a Julius Randle. They can take a risk because the Lakers have the assets to be able to, and also they have the cachet to be able to attract free agency. So they can kind of roll the dice with the draft. But a lot of the lesser teams that I mentioned should go with the sure thing of Jabari Parker, and he's a class act as well.
Yeah, he's a really good kid, and he's you can tell he was raised well.
Yes, he's Mormon. He's Mormon.
Okay. That's really. I mean, he's really going to translate well representing any organization that picks him up away from the court as well as on the court. I think some of the questions that were raised are. Will his game translate into scoring ability? Because you have to be able to be a scorer in the NBA and translate, into points.
Well, one thing is he's definitely good at the 3-point line, and that's been obvious from the season. And he can create his own.
Yeah.
He's good at doing that throughout, and he's proved it.
Right.
This year.
Yeah. How do you feel about Hood going and following him into as well, his teammate?
Sorry about that. Yes, Rodney Hood. I think he. From all intents and purposes, for the climate of what's going on, he's ready. He's a big, long shooting guard. He can play the 2 in the NBA now. He has the quickness to, but he can eventually play the 3 if he can bulk up and gain around 15, 20 pounds of muscle, which will take him some time. But I think it'll be good for him to be the 2, and I think he should emphasize being a perimeter defender, because that will get him playing time, because his games still need some work, especially his perimeter shooting and things like that. So he's going to need some work, and I think it'll be best to have him come in as a defensive guy to use his length. But he's a talented player, and it's interesting how he was able to really excel in his only year at Duke.
Right. You mentioned guys bulking up and getting that extra 15, 20 pounds. I mean, you're playing, these guys are theoretically, they're not grown men. They're young men, and they're going to be playing with grown men. The physicality on that level is it's a lot different than playing in high school and college. So theoretically, these guys, in actuality, these guys have played more high school basketball than they have in college.
And that's what we said about Parker. I mean, facially, he looks young. He looks young.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like the big guys do in the NBA.
Yeah. I remember when Kobe first came to the league, and that was part of the question and part of something that they spoke about, just adjusting to the physicality, because you're dealing with grown men, and they actually translated that over to the NFL with guys having to be a certain age. They wouldn't let guys come straight or just play a year of college football and then go into the NFL, because the physicality is just too much for a guy that age to handle. They need time to develop physically, and over the years, basketball has become more physical. I mean, you think about the guys from back in the day with the bad boys, the Detroit Pistons with Bill Laimbeer and Isaiah Thomas and those guys and Rodman, and they were just pounding guys. But that's almost kind of like the average. The players are bigger, stronger, and faster now. So the weight programs are just more advanced. So yeah, just you mentioning him having to put on that extra weight, that also affects performance.
And referencing Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, where he talked about the hockey team, like the young hockey teams, how an 11-month difference makes a huge difference in physical stature and also maturity, like 11 months. So when you go to the pros, you're dealing with people at a median age around 26, 27 years old, and you're an 18, 19-year-old kid. That is not just physical, it's mental as well. It's also being able to deal with the 82-game structure of an NBA season. And going back to football, like that's even worse because that's a collision sport. Like NBA is a contact sport, football is a collision sport.
Yeah.
And you deal with even a 23-year-old NFL player would absolutely annihilate a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. That's why I find it asinine that people would say that, for example, the national champion Florida State Seminoles, that they would defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars, something like that.
Yeah, they always make those comparisons, like the best college football team against, one of the mediocre or lesser NFL teams, and it is just ridiculous when they say that. It's so funny because it would never. Dude, it's like, come on, what are you saying right now? That would never happen. That'd be a smash.
And I want to say about Rodney Hood. I mean, Rodney Hood did shoot well. I'm just sorry to go back, but he did shoot well this season with Duke. But the only thing is that consistent outside shooting. That's the thing. And also another thing is shot selection. Because when you get to the NBA and when you're dealing with quicker defenders, you start to press and you start to take bad shots, So that's what I meant about Rodney Hood. I wanted to rephrase that.
I got
more
you.
about his shot selection and making sure that he's consistent.
Got you.
His shot selection and his outside shot.
Well, good luck to Jabari Parker and Rodney Hood in the upcoming draft. Hopefully everything will work out well for them. Just recently, the Masters. We just experienced the Masters recently in golf, and the ratings is the worst it has been in over 20 years since 93. Was it 93 or 94? I think it was 94.
93.
Was it 93? It was 93, right? Had the lowest ratings in a long time. It was about 8.9 million viewers and about 6.5 million homes.
Yeah.
And people have been, trying to surmise why the ratings were so low, and they're attributing it to the fact that Tiger Woods, he didn't perform. Obviously, he had surgery, he was out, and then of course Phil Mickelson missed the cut by one stroke, I think.
Yeah.
So.
And when you have two people Tiger Woods is just known for playing, and when you miss two people like this, I feel like it does. Hurt the ratings because a lot of people do tune in just to watch these two, and especially Tiger, I think. Right.
And what's really funny is that, there's been commentators and theorists just giving their own opinion and hypotheses about does Tiger Woods have the greatest impact on his particular sport than any other athlete? And this has been like a debate that's going on. I remember a few years back when Tiger was trying to get NBC to share revenue with him as part of his income because he knew that his participation was getting those ratings and those views, and they weren't going for it.
Well, honestly, no matter what the reason was that the ratings were lower, it gives Tiger a lot of power now.
Yeah.
He's got the upper hand because the ratings were so low.
Right. And the same thing with Phil Mickelson. I mean, Phil, in his own right, is a great Masters champion himself. So these are two guys that just weren't there. It gave a little bit of shine to this. There's a new up-and-coming kid. He's like 20 years old who he could have, if he would have won, he would have been the youngest Masters winner ever.
Yeah.
At 20 years old.
Yeah, Jordan Spieth.
Oh, that's his name, Jordan Spieth. Yeah. So, what do you attribute this low ratings to, Nabate?
That's what it is. No Tiger Woods, no Phil Mickelson. Because if Tiger Woods played, because everyone is waiting for him to win that major after the fiasco that he went through.
Right.
And everything. Everyone is looking for him to completely come back. I mean, of course, he's still been a very good golfer, a great golfer from the standpoint of comparing him to other golfers on the scene, but not the Tiger Woods standards of the late 90s through the 00 decade. But with I think too I think that has a lot to do with it with the low ratings, and also there's no other star other than Woods and Mickelson. I mean, Rory McIlroy has fizzled. Sergio Garcia was supposed to be a star in his own right. He never really matriculated to be that guy. And also Bubba Watson, who's a good golfer, but no one really knows him. I mean, you don't have any other stars in the game. And in the '93 tournament, Bernhard Langer won it from Germany, but at that time there was so much parity in the game that there were no stars until Tiger Woods really transcended the game with his star power and with his dominance. But it's very interesting, you know, when you mention LeBron James, like when you have LeBron James, Tiger Woods, those about, you know, like it's funny, like the article talking about the Masters talked about, you know, who's more important overall in sports. And it's funny, for years I've always said to myself, and I've always said to people, can you name two athletes, or, you know, other than Tiger Woods and LeBron James, who has exceeded the expectations, the major expectations they have? Of course, you talk about great athletes like Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan did not have the expectations like a LeBron James. When he went into the NBA, he was a great college player, of course, and everyone knew that he was exciting, but didn't have the expectations. So Tiger Woods, the way he exceeded all the expectations, as well as being the first African-American golfer to win a Grand Slam and beyond, it's just amazing. And he's still, and the thing is that he has the most wins.
Yes, he does.
In PGA history, he still has the most wins, like in overall in PGA history in his career. So it's like when you look at that, he still has had an excellent career. He just needs the 4 more majors to tie Jack Nicklaus. So
yeah,
but it's just amazing what he's done and accomplished, and I think that has a lot to do with it. No, Phil Mickelson, of course, too.
Well, it was funny that you mentioned that he had such high expectations coming in and becoming a pro, and he has exceeded the high expectation. It's really just what's the word I'm looking for? It's just an attribute to, you know, him and his drive.
Definitely.
No pun intended.
And
to what he's accomplished. To what he's accomplished. It's like, hey, kudos to you, Tiger. More power to you.
And I do think that everything that he's done outside of golf, I do think that has the people are more interested and want him, and not necessarily want him to win now. I feel like he has a split fan base now. Some people are against him because of everything that happened, but a lot of people are still for him. But that's still the curiosity is what makes people tune in, and they're like, oh, is he going to do it? And it is it's the high expectations that he has overcome, and he's gone way past that. He now needs to get the next win.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, LeBron James hasn't come close to the expectation of LeBron James. Has he done well? Yes.
Yeah.
Has he broken records? Yes. He's had a great career so far. But as far as him exceeding the expectation, I don't think he's quite there yet, because there was so much hype and press around LeBron James coming out of high school, and I remember how grand it was. I remember how grand it was when he left the Cleveland Cavaliers to go to Miami. It was just everything has been so grandiose surrounding LeBron James in his career. I still think and believe he's fighting to exceed and reach those expectations, even though he's had a great career. What do you think about that, Nabate?
Well, I have to respectfully disagree with you on LeBron James, because LeBron James, he's already seen as a top 10 player in the history of the game by many people. Like Oscar Robertson has said that about him. That Oscar Robertson's even said that he can be better than Jordan when it's all said and done. He's already, I would say, as the best small forward in the history of the game. I think if you're in the top 10 in the history of the game, then you've exceeded expectations, because absolutely, because you're in the pantheon of greats. I mean, he's being talked about with Oscar Robertson, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and 4 MVP awards. He's about to win his. Well, let me not say he's about to win his 3rd title. Let me not say that, but I mean, they're the favorites to three-peat, and especially I have to say this year, if Miami wins again and they beat especially whoever represents the Western Conference, if Miami wins their 3rd straight title, then LeBron James, you have to look at him as possibly a top 5 player in the history of this game, especially with Dwayne Wade not being the player that he is, and he's not going to be able to carry much of a load in the playoffs. I mean, he will have great games, but even last year's postseason, he was fading. And then you have Chris Bosh, who's very inconsistent. He's up and down, and I think it's more of a mental thing with him. If LeBron James carries this team team. And then you look at the rest of the roster, come on. When you look at the rest of that roster, it's like, oh, boy. But if LeBron James is able to win another title carrying this team, I think now he's already exceeded expectations right now, and then he'll even further his status.
Okay, well, that's definitely a fair argument, and the arguments can go on about LeBron James and where his place is in NBA and basketball history, because there's so many theories about everybody and everything, and the Jordan, the Kobe. Then there's Kevin Durant, who's coming up, and he's fighting to be a contender and the greatest of NBA players. But it's hard when you have a LeBron James, lurking around in your league, so to speak. So, we'll see how that turns out as far as those guys are concerned, and hopefully we'll see Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods back next year in full effect to get those ratings up. I know the networks are hoping they're competing next year for their pockets.
Or we can just. I'm sorry to interrupt. We just need a dominant player to come out. Just someone to be consistent and win a couple of majors from now. Say if a player could win the British Open and the PGA Championship, and then going into the Masters, the hottest golfer around, and then Tiger comes back, Phil comes back, can this golfer win the Masters too? If someone could just get in a streak and win some tournaments, that'll be great. And my mistake on Tiger Woods, he has 3 more tournaments to tie Sam Snead.
It's 3 more.
Most PGA wins.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my correct. But it seems like he's already done it.
You're right. It does seem like that. It seems like he's accomplished everything.
You're right, though. There just needs to be some hype. Someone that's kind of maybe taking that spot, giving him some competition. Because right now, if Tiger plays to the way he can, he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's right.
Okay.
And you know what? It'd be interesting if Tiger Woods needs to win. And say if he has 82 wins to tie Sam Snead, or it needs to win his 82nd, and the Masters is that tournament, people will watch.
Yes,
that's for sure.
More people will watch.
That's true. Every time Tiger's like a couple strokes away from doing whatever, it seems like everybody's like, okay, let me take a break from work and go see what Tiger's doing. And whatever they're doing, it stops and go see what Tiger's doing. Well, good luck to Tiger and your recovery. And Phil, we want to see you back next year.
Yeah.
One stroke in making the cut. Good thing that your resume speaks for itself. Moving on to the NHL, the playoffs started yesterday. Kings versus San Jose, which is a storied rivalry. NHL
West Coast
history.
rivalry.
And unfortunately for the Kings, they got smashed 6-3 in this game. The last time they played was April 3rd, and the Sharks had the Kings number then.
With that goalie,
As well.
With the Kings goalie, Jonathan Quick, I expected it to be, he's a great goalie.
Mm-hmm.
He's really phenomenal. So I didn't expect this outcome. I know the Kings were kind of the underdog, but I didn't expect it to be the way it turned out.
Well, it seems as though the Sharks have a fire lit. The Kings won the whole thing a couple years back, the Stanley Cup. They won it all. And I think these guys are just in a state where they're like, if we beat these guys and start smashing these guys, that's our championship, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they are a premier team. And I don't see really the way they're playing. I don't really see, I'm not sure who can stop them or who is going to be a viable contender the way they're getting after it. They, anything that the Kings throw at them, they're just right in their face. And they have kind of a response for it. Did you watch the game, Nabate, yesterday?
Oh,
did you get a chance to catch it?
I did not get a chance to watch it, but I did read about it and everything. And it's very interesting about the San Jose Sharks. This is a team that has been on the cusp, and they've never played in a Stanley Cup final.
Right.
And this is a team that they have made the playoffs for about 10, 11 years. They've been in the playoffs. They've had great records. One of the most successful organizations in all of sports when you think about them. But the problem is with them, they've never gotten over the hump. And I think yesterday was a reflection of the focus of that organization. They're putting pressure on themselves to finally make it and be able to get to that next level. And I'm really cheering for them because it's time for them to do that. And they've been exemplary throughout the last 11 years, just a great overall team. And it's time for them to make that next step. And like I said, make this message against the Los Angeles Kings. This is a message that they sent.
Yeah.
But
I would say so.
But it's only the only thing is only one game. That's the thing.
Yeah. So they do have
just one game.
They definitely sent a message, but they have the rest of the series that they have to maintain this level. But just based on the intensity that they've been bringing to the ice, I don't see them really wavering too much. The focus they've been hitting.
Focus.
Yeah. Just like Nabate mentioned, they've been on the cusp. They've been hitting this glass ceiling as far as performance and actually playing in the Stanley Cup final. And I believe that their minds are ready. They're psychologically and emotionally ready to take it there. So the Kings need to strap up.
Yeah, I think physically they've been ready for a while, but now mentally, every way they're ready.
Kings need to strap up and represent LA. You guys can't go out like that. Lose by a goal. Don't lose by 3 goals. Okay, so.
And it would be great. I mean, someone like a Joe Thornton, how great would it be for him to play in the Cup final?
Yeah.
That would be amazing. This man has been just a tremendous player in his career, one of the great. He's a possible, borderline Hall of Famer. I wouldn't say, if he was to get into the Hall of Fame, he would not be a first ballot guy. But he's been when it comes to setting up his teammates, and he's a class act too, as well. On and off the ice. So it would be great for him to make a Cup final finally.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
It would be great. So we'll see what happens with this storied rivalry between the Kings and the Sharks. Moving forward, we have a few stories from our partners at Black Sports Online. The first one being Tracy McGrady is pitching. Tracy McGrady of NBA fame is actually pitching and playing baseball now. And this is a la Michael Jordan back in the day. Michael Jordan was pitching. That's the first thing, of course, I thought of when I saw him on the mound.
This time last year, he was preparing for the NBA playoffs with the San Antonio Spurs.
Right.
So it's pretty incredible that now he's with Sugarland Skeeters, and it's just like, whoa, like he's the epitome of an all-around athlete.
Right. He definitely is. This guy was, the thing about Tracy's career in basketball, I feel like his story is something that never unfolded quite like it was supposed to in the NBA. It never really was a testament of how really great of a basketball player he really was. If you look at his accomplishments on paper, I think that he was a much better basketball player, much greater basketball player. I think part of his career got caught up in the business of basketball with certain trades and blah blah blah, this and this and that. From there, that being said, he's playing baseball now. So this is a testament. I mean, he didn't do a great job performing on the mound, but he didn't do a bad job either for somebody who hasn't played baseball since his senior year of high school.
Right.
And they won the game playing against that.
10-1.
10-1. Playing, they competed against Alvin Community College, and he threw 15 pitches. He had 9 strikes and 6 balls, and he gave up 1 run on 3 hits. So like we all know as far as baseball, those aren't great stats, but it's not bad either for somebody who's been playing basketball for his entire professional career.
Completely. I 100% agree with you, because it's a different kind of training, and now he's in a different sport. I mean, just from this photo, he's just a great all-around athlete to be able to go from NBA now into baseball.
Right. What do you think about that, Nabate? About Tracy making this transition into baseball?
I wish him well, because I just see this as a.
Do you think it's more of a, because some people are like, oh, this is more of like a publicity stunt, PR type of thing, or do you think it's really serious? He's really seriously getting out there and getting after it.
Oh no, I think he's very serious. For him to be the type of NBA player that he became, that competitiveness and the discipline, he's definitely serious about it, and he's a passionate guy. But at the end of the day, I just don't see where it's going to go. I don't see. I hate to be negative, but I don't see it going anywhere. But
right.
I think it's good for him. I think it's good to give him something to do on a competitive status, and for him to push himself, and that's always a good thing. Great people want to be pushed. Great people want to be challenged, and he's one of those guys. And definitely, I wish him the best of luck. But I definitely don't see him. I mean, maybe he'll play in the minors, maybe, but
right.
I don't see him going further than that. But I think it's great to see him be able to push himself and try. I find that wonderful, and I find that I really commend him.
Yeah, that is very commendable. And speaking of people that like to push themselves, Chad Johnson actually just signed with the Montreal Alouettes of the Canadian Football League. Now, everybody starts laughing. Now, Chad, I'm personally happy for Chad. There's a picture of him right there and his fancy footwork, trying to stay in the end zone right there, catching some harrowing pass. Chad Johnson, his off-the-field antics, I think this is really good for him professionally, just to, end his career on a positive note because of, everything that surrounded, everything that happened with him that affected his career in Miami. And now he's got a job
in Canada.
Which is not a bad league. Canadian Football League is not a bad league, and he's definitely going to be able to contribute up there with his level of athleticism. I honestly didn't believe that Chad was ready to. Yes, was he one of the older receivers in the league? Had he been around for a few years? Yes, but Chad was still physically capable to compete with the young guys. He wasn't really beat up and dinged up. He hasn't really sustained a lot of major injuries that I can think of right now. So what do you think about this, Nabate, about Chad signing with the Alouettes? I just don't want him to go up there and marry some socialite and get into some reality show or some nonsense. I want him to stay away from that. I just want him to have a successful football career. I'm just glad he's got a job, actually. So I want to see him perform some more.
Absolutely, because Montreal is the type of city where it can be distracting. For sure.
Yeah.
But I have to say about Chad, it's funny. I was looking at the numbers for Montreal, and when you look at the CFL, either you have like extreme passing teams or extreme dual teams that emphasize running the football with dual type of quarterbacks.
Right.
And Montreal, when you look at their offense, they don't emphasize the pass.
They don't.
So
and they haven't traditionally either. Mm-hmm. And they haven't traditionally either.
Yeah, right, right. So now, Chad, I think it's a good opportunity for him. I think he shouldn't expect to be a CFL All-Star, but he can expect to be a leader, to be able to help the younger players and help them grow and share his experiences from the NFL, share the things that he did to be able to become the receiver that he was in the NFL. And now, and also talk to them about mistakes that he made.
Right.
The fact that he wasn't the greatest route runner. That affected him to be effective later on in his career, because when the speed went, then all of a sudden he fell off a cliff. When you look at his career,
right.
Because when you have good technique has you have staying power for a long time. So I think Chad, it's an opportunity for him to be a leader and to help young men grow and to also be a mentor, maybe get into coaching. Maybe he can be part of the coaching staff for Montreal down the road, and then he can maybe be involved as an NFL coach, assistant coach somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I think that would be a good route for him. He needs to kind of stay on track and get everything. And I think he could be the person that is the mentor, that people could learn from the things, he's done well, but also the things that maybe he could have done better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely. Chad is definitely a motivational guy to to say the least. He's very charismatic. He's a team guy. And I know guys enjoy him in the locker room, so I could just imagine as a veteran player what he's going to bring to the younger guys and the kind of tone that he's going to bring to his teammates. They're going to love to have him there. I mean, I'm sure when he signed on the dotted line, the rest of the team was jumping up for joy. But the field, just on a performance level, the field is bigger out there. Maybe Montreal is going to alter a little bit of their playing, their offensive attack and strategy to cater to him a little bit, because that's a lot of open space up there for him to run around. And they also have 12 players on each side of the field. So the field is longer, the field is bigger, and giving that little extra space, it might help him out a little bit to perform and get some open field.
And another thing, too, like real quickly, I think Chad needs to come in very serious.
Yeah.
Completely serious. He needs to come in and have a different type of demeanor and set a tone for his teammates and for his coaches.
I think that's
coaching
key.
Staff. That's key. And then as the season goes on, then you could then he could be the Chad that he is, be a jokester and things like that. But I think he needs to start by being extremely serious and setting a tone by leading by example.
Right. I believe he'll do that. Well, good luck, Chad, in Canada up north, and especially in Montreal, because you'll need the focus to focus in Montreal. Montreal's a fun city, if I may say so myself, because I've been there. Okay, moving forward, BSO, Black Sports Online, has reported that Asia Wilson has committed to University of South Carolina. This is a big deal all of a sudden out of nowhere for me. This girl is like a phenomenal basketball player and has done a lot in basketball. And there was this huge press conference surrounding her announcement. So I got my eyes peeled for her and what she's going to bring to the NBA, WNBA. I'm sorry, to college basketball. But I know people, the WNBA, they were mentioning has their eyes on her already, obviously, because of already what she's doing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
in on her level of basketball and competition.
On April 2nd at the McDonald's game, she got 10 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks, 3 steals in 24 minutes. And she's staying close to home. She wanted to stay close to home, and I think everything is in a positive light for her.
Well, she was getting recruited everywhere, and it was actually surprising that she decided to play for the Gamecocks. Everybody was like, "Wow, she's going to stay home," and the crowd went crazy because, why not? Why not stay home?
And I think, and now
people thought UConn,
right?
Yeah.
Take all the time,
right? But why not show how great of a player you are by taking an okay team and making them a great team?
Yeah.
By having that impact, as opposed to being a great player and blending into
and doing the normal thing.
Right.
Or what people would usually do. They would usually go to the best team so that they could potentially win another championship.
Yeah.
But I think she's standing out. I think she's doing what's best for her.
Right.
Which is obviously what she wants to do. But I think staying close. I think it was key for her to stay close to home.
Yeah.
That's from the knowledge that I've got from this story. I think that's what she wanted.
Yes, most definitely. Well, good luck to Asia, and good luck to the Gamecocks in having her. I know they're happy to have her there.
Yeah. And Dawn Staley.
Dawn Staley, exactly. Oh my goodness.
The program she has built there, and I was a fan of hers of Virginia back in those days. I mean, I'm older than I look. Boy, you haven't seen me yet, the both of you. but I remember Dawn Staley in her days, just fiery, just a skilled point guard, and of course just leading the South Carolina program, and they should no doubt be a top 3 team throughout the season next year, and they should make the Final Four. There's no question. There's going to be big expectations.
Right.
And Asia, and real quick, Asia Wilson, she reminds me of it's funny. She has some Tim Duncan in her game and some KG in her game.
Yeah.
That's enough said right there.
Right. Most definitely. That's his champion recipe for champion fodder going on right there. Yeah, I can't wait to see what's going to happen with her. So, good luck to Asia and Don and everybody over there. The other USC. I don't talk the USC. I don't talk about them over here 'cause I'm a Bruin. Anyway.
Oh, you're a UCLA guy.
Yeah,
okay,
I'm a UCLA guy. I'm a Bruin. I can't show it. I'm not supposed to show any favoritism, but I do. I can't help it. The rivalry is so thick over here in LA. Anyway, good luck, Asia. Moving forward, off the field, quickly, we're going to discuss 3 topics really quick. Yasiel Puig is receiving threats from the smuggler that smuggled him from Cuba to Mexico. This is a very big thing that's been going on for years now, with players coming from Cuba to get the best players into the Major League Baseball and the MLB.
I feel bad for him. I think that's the last thing. Well, obviously that's the last thing he needs right now. And I've read. I'm not quoting him exact, but he wants it. He's kind of putting that to the back of his mind and focusing on the games. But I mean, that's hard to do when it's a huge thing that's going on surrounding him right now. And I just hope it doesn't take his mind off the game completely.
Well, when you've been, I don't know what kind of threats he's receiving. They were kind of vague. There was like lawsuit threats, and I don't know if he's receiving any other kind of threats because based on the way they told the story or the story's been told, there was money involved where he was supposed to be paid or a percentage of money that he owed based on his MLB contract, which is actually a sizable amount of money. It was like 20% of his salary or whatever that he was supposed to owe these guys for getting him over here. And then the MLB is coming under fire a little bit based on their practices of how they're getting players to come, and there's just so much. It's kind of
a very big topic.
Yeah, it's a big topic and it's a little messy. So I'm really paying attention to this story to see how they're going to flat iron all these wrinkles that are going on. This is a guy who comes from, it's not a first world country, obviously, and they want better lives, so and that's his one means of getting it is by playing and performing in his sport. And he just I just want to get there and provide a better life for my family. And it's really difficult. It's a really tough scenario.
And this is the thing that's it's very disappointing because the Major League Baseball. I mean, I'm not going to blame Major League Baseball, but people that work within Major League Baseball and people, Major League Baseball is a big entity. I don't want to pigeonhole them,
of course,
but I just feel that the way business is being conducted in recruiting these kids and going to these countries and really taking advantage of these kids are just abominable and something that needs to be really investigated by Major League Baseball, by the powers to be, to make sure that this needs to be altered. And this is why too, like on a separate subject, this is why there's been talk about a lot of African Americans that are not in Major League Baseball anymore. Because I think a lot of scouts are looking at a lot of young Latino players that are in these countries, and they know that they can take advantage of them from that standpoint, because they want to get into the country and things like that. But with African Americans, though, it's like it's not as easy to do that, and it's a whole nother topic. It's a whole sociological thing, not just a sports thing, but it's a sociological thing, and it would be great to talk about on a future episode.
We're definitely going to follow this and follow up with this story and see how it develops and what unfolds with it. Just simply because the controversy surrounding the sport and everything that goes into the sport that really has nothing to do with the sport, but is directly related and directly linked to the sport. So. I believe, Nabate is right. The powers that be should do their own investigating and get in there and be more proactive as far as finding out what the practices are and what's going on as far as these players are concerned. Because, even though they're running a business, they have a social responsibility. Yeah,
completely.
To the community on both sides, to this community, to the American community, and the communities that these kids are being recruited from.
And they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball on performance-enhancing drugs. This is another situation that can that can ruin the game.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yes. Yeah, it can. So, moving forward, Darren Sharper, former NFL standout safety, is in court over this sexual assault situation in Arizona, and they've apparently found DNA evidence on the leggings of one of the accusers. and she apparently had DNA on her area, her private area, her genital area as well. So he's got cases pending in Arizona and California, and basically what's going on right now is they're arguing for bail.
Well, it was set at $1 million.
It was set at $1 million. So.
And again, this is another subject that can just tear people apart. I mean, the fact that DNA has been found on one of the two women, and that night there was 3 girls there, and 2 of them have said that he had sex with them without consent.
Right.
And
well, apparently there was drugs involved, or drugging.
Drugging and sexual assault.
Right, and a couple of the drugs, one of them was something equivalent to Ambien. That's kind of like a sleep deprivation, I guess, aid for sleep deprivation, helps you with sleep or whatever. And apparently one of those drugs has actually been prescribed to Darren Sharper. So I don't know. It's not looking good. It's not. It sucks. It sucks for the sport. It sucks for the perceptions and the stereotypes of athletes everywhere when something like this happens.
Yeah.
We just recently there was something that happened. There was an investigation with Colin Kaepernick and a couple of the Seahawks players with something not quite this involved, but the tone is kind of the same.
It is. I mean, and it's just like Jameis Winston from Florida State.
Right.
All these negative connotations that are carrying around these athletes in the sport, and it's just not good.
Right. So we'll see how this story develops as well. Ugh, goodness.
And it's a situation too when you look at a lot of athletes, because I'm not accusing Darren Sharper of anything,
right?
But it just shows that we all know that historically, athletes that are exceptionally talented and can help a team make millions of dollars, things get swept under the rug.
Yeah,
actually,
yes.
And so. It goes back to collegiate ranks as well.
Yes.
When things are swept under the rug, when they know they have a star player, and that's the problem. There's no accountability anymore in general, and it's not like it once was years ago. And I'm sounding like I'm 80 years old, but but at the same time though, that's what it is. A lot of, and not just athletes though, but entertainers, people that are at a high status, they get away with anything and everything.
Well, it's the almighty dollar.
This could be a message of that with Darren Sharper.
Yeah, unfortunately. On a lighter note, moving forward quickly, we're going to just really quickly touch upon Carmelo Anthony. Is tired of losing. I said on a lighter note.
Yeah,
Carmelo,
he doesn't care about the money. He just wants to ring.
He wants to win. And, this is a guy who went to college 1 year, went to Syracuse, won a championship, and bounced and went to the NBA. He could have went straight to the NBA from college, and he came, he's a winner. This guy wants to win, and you can't blame him. Once you have money, it's not about money. It's about your status and your position. And when you're at a level when you see guys like LeBron James who are living up to, like we talked about LeBron earlier, living up to their expectations and performing and receiving accolades and honors for their performance, you want and you desire the same thing when you're already considered to be a great player as well, which Carmelo is. He went off last night against the Charlotte Bobcats, 62 points. This guy's PO'd. Whether or not they're going to get him to keep his heart into the game or keep his heart with the Knicks, because sometimes once players are disheartened with an organization, they disconnect, even though they're still there and they're in contract, and you're not going to get the best performance out of them. They got Phil Jackson over there now, and there's rumors swirling about Steve Kerr becoming the head coach, which would be great for that organization.
There are reports, actually. I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't know if you, but reports came out today from the New York Post saying that Steve Kerr has already talked to TNT about adjusting his schedule for broadcasting for the NBA playoffs, and that if he was to receive an offer from the Knicks, he would take it.
Yes.
That's what is supposedly what the New York Post reported.
Yes.
My good friend Mark Berman out there at the Post. So
shout out to Mark.
Yes, indeed.
So Kerr used to play for Phil Jackson, and Phil Jackson is basically it's like having a player that's molding other players again. So that relationship is there.
Yeah.
That could be a good fit for all of them. maybe that's what inspired Carmelo to go off last night and score all those points. So, that's something that we're gonna be looking to see how that unravels with the Knickerbockers, the New York Knickerbockers. Just honorable mention from BSO, our partners at Black Sports Online. LeBron James has sold the most jerseys. Again. So this is more of a testament to Nabate's saying that LeBron is definitely one of the greatest players and could go ahead and, this is the 6th time that he sold the most jerseys in the 6th year that he has done this. So LeBron James is definitely that guy right now in the NBA. Go ahead, Nabate.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, he's that guy, and I think what the one thing, and what I like about LeBron, his goal, he's said this, that his goal is to win Defensive Player of the Year. That's the one thing that he wants to do before he retires and everything. And when you look at him as a defender, I've never seen anyone who can guard all 5 positions. That's another thing that makes him so dangerous. He can guard. Of course, the NBA isn't as post, isn't as post. Offensively emphasized like it was back in the 70s and 80s and things like that. But so I don't know if he would be able to guard a David Robinson or Hakeem Olajuwon or even Artis Gilmore or someone like that. But that's the thing with him. He just continue, like, that's his goal, and I like hearing that about from him. And he's like I said, if he can leave
do it.
Miami like this, if he does this year, because he has a lot of work, ahead of him. That's for sure to three-peat.
Well, rounding out that top 5 of top sold jerseys was Kevin Durant at number 2.
He's a close second.
Close second. Kobe Bryant at number 3. Derrick Rose at number 4, and Stephen Curry at number 5.
Isn't that funny? Two of the 5 players played a total of around 15 games, or maybe 20 games, no more than 20 games, in Derrick Rose and Kobe Bryant. Wow,
Kobe played 6.
6 games, yes. So Derrick Rose played 11, I believe. I think he played 11, or 10. So that's around 16, 17 games. that those guys have played total, and it's amazing. I just hope Kobe, I don't think he'll be at the level that he, he's not in his prime anymore. But I hope Derrick Rose, I hope he can get to, because he's still young.
Yeah, he's still young.
And I hope he can. I hope he can get to his prime. I hope so. I really hope so.
Well, talking about what I mentioned earlier with Kevin Durant, he jumped up 2 spots, bumping Kobe down, and was that Derrick Rose down a spot as far as most sold jerseys. That just shows his popularity and his performance. He's been doing well. This guy is really trying to get that top spot.
Yeah.
With OKC.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and he says he's sick of being second. He's sick of being second. And
he's got the determination.
This is the year.
They should put that on a T-shirt. Sick of being second. That sounds like a T-shirt. Well, Nabate, we're grateful that you chimed in with us and you hung out with us this week, and hopefully we'll get you back again another week. You guys.
Thank you.
Nabate from Sirius.
My pleasure.
Sports
Thank you for having me.
Radio.
Thank
yes.
You so much.
Where can the viewers find you and the listeners find you on social media?
Oh yes. Definitely. You can go on. I have a show called So Much to Talk About on Manhattan Cable. So it streams live Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can go on www.mnn, which is Manhattan Neighborhood Network, mnn.org. Or you can see old interview of mine on YouTube. Just look for my channel's NSI World. So you can see a lot of interviews I've conducted with so many great athletes and great people.
Twitter, Instagram. Do you have Twitter or Instagram that fans can follow you?
Yeah, I have a Twitter. I'm sorry, my Twitter is at NABATE ISLESSMTA. That's at Nabate Isles SMTA is my Twitter handle.
Excellent.
Awesome. Thank you.
And Charlotte, where can we find you until next time? You
can find me on Instagram and Twitter at ShawB_TV or at charlottebroadbenttv.com.
Char and Nabate. I'm your host, Thaddeus Massey, and you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Club Thaddeus. That's CLUBTHADDEUS. And until next time, you guys can find me here. Sports fans, peace out.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.